Hi everyone, welcome back. And in the part one, we already went ahead and set up our Daemon service on the ECS cluster. The collector is running and the CloudFormation stack is also deployed. And the config is also live in the system parameter store. And now in the part two is come onto the side of the applications, where we'll go ahead and deploy our containers into the cluster, wiring up the OTLP routing so they can go ahead and talk to the daemon, and then validating everything end to end in Signoz. So if you're here from the part one, let's jump right in. I'm going to walk you through how we are going ahead and deploying everything onto the side of our app on ECS. So firstly, as you can see, before we go ahead and start off with everything, we have to firstly get our demo app running. So for the Redis, it's completely going to be simple. So I'm just going to go to the AWS console and find our ECS and then click on the task definitions over here. And as you can see, we have different files defined over here. And first I'm going to go ahead and type the Redis task, and then just gonna scroll through the infrastructure requirements, make sure to uncheck the Fargate and leave the EC2 checked. And then we have the operating system, the Linux defined, and then the task memory is gonna be our 512, and then the vCPU is defined for your own set of configuration. And then we have the container part. I'm gonna be naming it as Redis. The image URI is gonna be the Redis 7 Alpine, the same one that is there in our documentation. And now is the time to go ahead and basically leave everything as default and click create. So now, as you have seen, the task is already created, and now to go ahead and click the deploy drop down. So as you can see, we will just go ahead and everything has been created. I'm going to go ahead and click deploy over here at the bottom. So now we will go ahead and simply tell the cluster as well to actually how to run this task. So I'm just going to go ahead and select Signoz ECS demo over here, select the launch type as is, do the same cluster that we already had working, and the service name is going to be Redis service. The desired task going to be one, and then let's just go ahead and click on create. Okay, so as you can see, I'm just going to go back to the services, and you can see it's going to be spinning up. And now is the important part to go ahead and also grab the IP address of this ready container so that the app can also connect to it. So just go ahead and click on the Redis service, go to the task tab, click on the run in task ID, and here's our private IP4 address block under the container details. So let's just go ahead and copy it. So now for the main application, that is the OTL mock. So we'll go back to the task definitions, click on create new task definition yet again, and then just go ahead and type the OTL mock task and uncheck Fargate as usual, select EC2, and I'm gonna just quickly add all of these kind of configurations of the image URI, the container port and everything, and also add the environment variables. Okay, so yeah, so now's the time to go ahead and simply go ahead and click on create. I've added all the various field in the entry point. I'm going to be typing those exact strings, and just add our field 1, field 2, field 3, and then click on create. So now as you can see, I'm on the success page. I'm gonna click on deploy and go ahead and click on create service. So it's going to be taking our existing cluster. That's going to be a Signoz ECS demo. The launch type is going to be the EC2. The service name is going to be OTL mock service. Desired task again one. And let's just go ahead and type up create. So as it's creating, let's just go ahead and wait for a while, and we will go back to our terminal to go ahead and check that our complete task and everything are running. So I'm going to go ahead and switch to the terminal. Go ahead run our AWS ECS list task cluster is also our Signoz ECS demo, and the region is US East 1. Okay, click enter. So as you can see, both are running. The red is in the demo app, and the traffic is being generated automatically by the load generator. Now is the time to go ahead and check everything inside our Signoz instance. Okay, so now we have done everything around of setting up our project, going ahead and setting things on the side of AWS, setting our parameter store, running all the set of task definitions, and connecting them with the various set of services. Now is the time to go ahead and verify everything in a SigNoz Cloud instance. So as you can see, I'm at the SigNoz dashboard. I'm just gonna go to our metrics. And as you can see, all our metrics are starting to get populated. This is the time filter for the last 5 minutes. And I'm going to be opening one of them. For example, as you can see, if you are on the CPU time, the network packets and the network drop and everything, let me just go ahead and try to open one of them out. So here you will be able to go ahead and see of how the complete data flowing is happening and also from where the data is coming from. So as you can see, we have the AWS ECS cluster defined and the task ARN defined as well. And not only that, we have everything around the cloud provider defined as well, and the task revision. So everything that we configured on there on our AWS is provided right over here. And at the same time, all of these kind of host metrics are the one that's going to be using for your own set of usages. Not only that, for example, if you're going ahead and opening anything around the system CPU utilization, you're going to be finding these. And then for the memory usage as well, for example, if I'll just go ahead and open, you have the network, I'm going to open for the memory usage over here. And as you can see, the same kind of things exist for this particular thing as well. The ECS task revision, the cloud platform that is defined, the cloud region, the host image ID, and everything that we used for setting that particular cluster up is shooting all of its data over here from the complete EC2 instances. And not only that, the other important thing is going ahead and seeing of how the things are looking for the ECS CPU usage. And as you can see, our CPU usage is live over here, and it's giving you everything around the host metrics, everything around the kind of metrics you would be required per task, per container CPU utilization for the ECS. And also you can go ahead and notice the various set of attributes that are our ECS cluster name, as you can see, the one that is defined over here, our services. And also it's going and providing you everything on the same kind of drill that we are using for every other kind of metrics, cloud provider and also the cloud platform, the same kind of usual processes. And if you want, you can go ahead and even find it and open it your explorer. For example, I'm just gonna go ahead and do that. It's going to be giving you all the kind of the graph that you would require, how it's shooting up the data, what's the duration and everything. Like, not only that, the next step is checking our logs. As you can see that there were multiple services defined, and also there were multiple components. There were kind of a product checkout and all the kind of the various components that were connected. And this is the time we are seeing the container logs being also populated from the file path that we also defined in our file log receivers. As you know, we also defined that particular thing. And if I will just go ahead and open this out, you will go ahead and see the timestamp, the log file path, same thing for the ECS cluster. And also you will be seeing that how it's shooting everything around the data without using any kind of external services and no log router or anything. So the daemon service is tailing everything into these files directly. Everything around the GitHub repository that was fetched, and how it's shooting up the logs for that. So even if you want, you can go ahead and see and check out things in the time series, and even check out in the table view. So this was one of the initial things. And as you can see over here, all our services name has been defined, the kind of services we are using, the kind of services I already told you about, the checkout, currency, fraud detection and all of that. And the third pillar of the complete OpenTelemetry is our traces. And as you can see, the traces are also populating our Signoz dashboard. I just went ahead and changed the timeline to last 6 hours because that was the first time I started shooting all of these. And you can go ahead and even configure the kind of services you require. Here's it for the shipping. If I just want to go ahead and play maybe for the ads category, you will find a very interesting thing of how every data is flowing. For example, you can go ahead and simply click one of these out. Like, this is the kind of functionality you won't find in other observability tools. So you can see how the complete request is flowing from the browser front end, then to the front end, then the checkout, and at the same time going ahead and taking care of everything with the time span. So the traces are also populating, and you can even see the complete configuration of how the data was being fetched, where it was being sent from, what kind of thing took what time, at the same time giving you the complete view of the Signoz dashboard via our one single cloud formation template. It took care of everything around the connections, and also went ahead and give you the kind of gist of how, if you have your ECS cluster defined, you can attach it with the Signoz collection agents. Okay, so that's a wrap, and you followed along the complete video of setting up your project, configuring things onto the side of AWS, and getting your data to the Signos. And before I close out, there's one important thing that if you're playing around with the AWS Fargate, there's one thing that you have to quickly touch. The Fargate is simply the serverless launch type, and with EC2, the daemon service runs on the underlying EC2 host. And with Fargate, there is no EC2 node you can access, so each task is gonna be running in a fully managed AWS control environment. You don't have like a lot of things to play around with. And then there's no host file system to mount, no Docker socket. And for Fargate, the approach is gonna be completely different, but you can also find it in the documentation. Something gonna be revolving around the same kind of demo we provided. And not only that, instead of one daemon per node, you can add the OTL collector as an additional container inside the ECS task. So if you're following along, you can go ahead and keep and following the important part of the AWS ECS container metrics we use, the OTL from a app server, from the local hosts, everything's going to be working on the same way. But if you also want to go ahead and configure our docs that are provided in the description, you can definitely go ahead and check them out. That's going to be giving you the complete gist. So it was everything along the full ECS observability, and we recapped everything that we could. We cloned our project, we set the things around the OTL daemon YAML, stored the config in the AWS SSM store, deployed the demo app as an ECS task, validated the traces, metrics, and logs and signals. And then I briefly talk around the Fargate. So it was a lot, and I hope you guys have followed around. And at the end of the day, the timestamps are there to guide you. So the project repo is linked below, and I will go ahead and see you in our next set of videos. Bye.